Greetings, Dumelang Lochani Sanbonani. Welcome yet to another segment of Lethal Marriages with myself, Mama Puma. Before firstly, thank you very much for the subscribers and thank you for the comments and the likes and the resharing and everything. If you are new, welcome home. The OGs Nyabonga. Let's continue to grow the channel. And guys, please be aware that Wednesday the 25th, I'm going to Kukwekwezi FM. Please tune in. I'll be live with TikTok from 4 to 5. Yes, your girl is growing. Your mama is growing. This platform is going to the greatest heights before it. Right, today we have, as I said the last time, I come with teas, relevant teas. Today we are here not to judge parents. Let's get that right. I'm not here to judge any parent, but we are here to understand the different parenting styles, because we are struggling as parents, as teachers as well. We are struggling. It depends how you grew, ekaya, whether it was a harsh parenting, gentle parenting, communication parenting. But we are here to try to understand the different dynamics that comes with parenting. Because one thing for sure, parenting doesn't come with a manual. Parenting, when you get that child esibhedlela, awuphumi ne booklet bakutshela ukuthi A, B, C, D, E, nothing at all. You get to know ukuthi parenting injani when you swim in the deep ocean. Right, I've got my experts here to help me get different parenting. Sifuna ukufunda, because myself, I'm a parent, I've got 3 boys and I am struggling properly, but Steve, I am struggling so much because I don't know how to handle boys. And I cannot ngizenza uclever ngithi I know it right, I've got it all right. It's because of that the parenting that I got when I was a child growing up is totally different than today, So I would like to know, let's start with you, Saspel. How was your childhood when you grew up? Ukhuliswe kanjani? What kind of parenting did your parents use back then?
Wow, ngikhuliswe kanjani? That's an interesting question. Well, one thing for sure is I can tell you, I think I grew up under strict parenting, right? And in hindsight, now when I, with the children that I work with, I realize that the strict parenting was for my good. It was for my good. The reason maybe that we found it hard was the consistency in routine, that they tell you, you need to know what needs to be done when it needs to be done, and you don't just do it for the sake of doing it. You need to do it to a satisfactory level. And initially, yes, it will be painful for you because it's somebody else's standard that you need to fulfill. But eventually you realize that is actually the acceptable standard in society. Right? So growing up as a child, you feel like, it was strict in everything. But now when you look at your peers, you realize, hey, my parents did me a huge favor. They did me a huge favor. You respect time. You respect elders, you respect somebody else's rules, and you get to also have your own rules, because you kind of got to know that things don't just do themselves. They need to be done, and the consistency is what builds your discipline, kind of thing. So yeah, I grew up under strict parenting, but I'm grateful for it.
When you say strict parenting, does it involve hitting, or it's only what do they call it nowadays? Umntwana angashaywa kuthiwa wenziwani uyagroundwa, something like that?
No, with us there was no grounding. They dealt with it right here and now, and then you get back to normal life.
Which was the hitting part? Let's be upfront about it.
Hitting, I feel like it is more making it feel like it was wrong. Yes, we were disciplined. Yes, we were disciplined.
Okay.
Because there is a difference. I do believe that now, when I speak to parents, I say there's a difference between discipline and abuse. When you let your anger now overtake you towards a child, then that now you're bordering abuse. But when you're doing it to correct, so that they remember that this is not supposed to be done, and this is not supposed to be done for my own sake, then that's discipline.
Own sake, meaning the child's sake.
Yes.
All right, I hear you. But Steve, welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for honoring the invites. All right, njengoba usesiphela sichazele, how was your upbringing? ngale ndlela thina esikhuliswa ngayo, how was your upbringing?
I think more or less the same. Thank you for having me, by the way. More or less the same. I come from a Christian background, you know, a Rod spoiled child type of a thing. My father was a bishop.
Okay.
I think growing up, I hated Christianity because, you know, when you're a PK, so I was a PK, but God has a sense of humor because here I am. So apart from being a therapist, I'm also a man of God. I'm a bishop too. So, so for some reason, so growing up in that family structure, there are two things that I really had to learn. One is we try to run away from who we are as children, based on the punitive measures that our parents could have been doing. And like Mrs. Pearl said, I look back now and I realize it worked for me. But at the time, I didn't like it. There's something that's very interesting. I think my father must have been a psychologist in his past life or something, because every time before he hit you, he will tell you, look, son, I'm going to hit you.
Okay.
I'm not going to punish you because I hate you. I'm going to punish you because I love you. And then he'll give you the scripture, spare rod, spoil a child.
Yes.
And he did that. And afterwards he'll come and sort of comfort you. I've got two daughters.
All right.
I wanted to emulate my father in so doing, so I would say the same things to them. I'm going to punish you if they've done wrong, and because I'm going to punish you, it doesn't mean I hate you. It's because I love you. But I came to realize that doing that to girl children, and by the way, I'm using the word love, was to say to them, every time I hit you, it is because I love you. Am I grooming my children for abuse? In terms of will they identify love with the measures of punishment that I was giving
by
to
being
them?
abused by older men
Yeah.
of their partners?
Yeah.
Okay.
They could have accepted that as a norm and as a standard. So I had to apologize to them. Punishment, much as yes, it goes with love, and it is important that we do that, but it is important also to draw measures. There's got to be measures that we are putting in so doing.
Okay.
As she was talking about, I think one of the things that we really not do so well is to punish children when we are angry. When I was thinking about this, and I realized that before we even think about punitive measures, I think it's important to also realize that as Black families, we need to heal.
Yes,
Because
definitely.
we are not just punishing children, we are punishing ourselves through children.
Okay.
And I realize that's exactly sometimes some of the things that we get to do, and I think we'll get to speak about it later on, because we are reliving vicariously our lives through our children. You're going to be this, and if you're not going to be that, and sometimes even you're going to choose this. And as I was saying, my daughter is studying university, and it was my wish for her to take the path of the things that I've taken, because it's my money, and by the way, it's a private institute, so it means every cent comes from my pocket. And in so doing, do I press my measures of success based on my expectations, or do I allow her to become herself and grow and make her own mistakes? Because one of the things that we also say as parents is, you're not going to make mistakes that I did.
I have done. Okay, but I hear you when you said Black families, we need to heal. What are we healing from?
Traumas.
We experience a lot of traumas,
We have
or our parents experience a lot of trauma.
You see, one of the things about traumas that I've come to realize is that there's trauma I see and I experience, but there's trauma that is passed on to the genetic codes of the next generation.
Okay.
They don't know why they're afraid, but they're afraid. They don't know why they're angry, but they're angry. Based on my expectations, let me make it a real example. If a daughter is getting married to a mom who was not successful in marriage, what does she say? She could be passing her past experiences or her past traumas to a child. My child, I'm glad you're getting married. But hey, you must be careful. Yes, no, Babako used to love me the same way the boyfriend loves you. They are passing on their fears and their traumas to their daughters. So, in retrospect, the daughter is starting from mother's wound.
Okay, but now I understand what you're saying, the trauma and everything. As I've said in the beginning, that we are not here to judge any parent, but we are here to understand the different dynamics that parenting comes along with. So can you just take us, according to your understanding, Dr. Pelguti, what kind of parenting do you come across, especially because you are dealing with kids, right? You have a daycare
Yes, I do.
from 7 years to
From birth until 7 years.
from birth to 7 years. Okay. According to your studies, what type of parenting do we have in, let's say, in South Africa?
Okay. In South Africa, it's quite fast. It's quite fast. I was actually talking to one parent sometime last week saying we're seeing a lot of developmental delays and language development delays because nowadays family different tribes marry into each other. Whereas growing up, we were told that ka Sesotho ba re dinaga a di nyalelane, meaning what different cultures don't marry for each other. There's a lot of mixture in our families currently. So, for example, in my house, there's Xhosa and there's Pedi. So the parenting might be different, and then now we need to find a compromise. And then to a certain extent, that compromise is what benefits the child or puts the child in a position of failure in a way, or delay, not failure rather, but delay. So the parenting styles that we were taught from psychology lectures, there's the authoritarian parenting, which is my law or the highway. And then there's the authoritarian is, I'll tell you what you need to do because it's good for you. I want you to understand it, and I expect you to do that, right? The authoritarian is the law or nothing else. And then there's the laissez-faire, which do as you wish, you learn from your mistakes, kind of thing. Nowadays, there's even soft parenting.
They call it gentle parenting, apparently. I don't even know what
gentle
that.
parenting. It's not working for our African genetics. It's not for us.
Sure,
we are adopting other cultures and we're mixing them into our things, and then we're actually realizing that that's where we've opened the doors to social ills, because in our time you could never speak back to your parent. Even if you did, it was with respect, and you were responding, not retaliating.
There's this thing, ebizwa uthi back chatting.
Yes.
Yes. I think it's what we are experiencing now.
We've got a lot
What
of
is back chatting, Dr. Steve? Because usisiphela uqeda ukuthi she responds, the child responds.
Yes.
Responding and back chatting, is there any difference?
Yeah, I think there's a difference. One, back chatting could be umjelang. And I think going back a little bit from what she's talking about, also we could be thinking about religion as well. So if you've got cultural societies, religious societies as well, some religion informs how a child must be punished. So you find that children now have rights, and they should. However, those rights at times they could come in handy or bad for them in terms of, typical example, you could not stand with a boy in the corners of the street as a girl, and umama next door, when they come in and they find you with a boy, they will punish you. But what would the child say? You're not my parent.
Yes.
So they are only afraid. To us, when we were growing up, a parent was a parent.
A child was raised by a community.
Exactly.
Right? When we were growing up, umama next door magati, hey, it was hey, as we are saying. But today's kids, like me as a teacher, uma uzama ukureprimanda umntwana, the child would outrightly say, you're not my mother.
Exactly. And also bearing in mind that we've got absent fathers in houses. And I would say, the voice of a father, the yay from a father, it brings in a lot of discipline. Apart from absent fathers, now you've got stepfathers coming into the house, and a mother maybe trying to protect the children
from the
stepfather or from their traumas. And I'm still going back to that part, because if I grew up from a trauma, here's a trigger word that I find a lot of parents use without even realizing that they're overusing it, is I would rather suffer than to see my children go through what I've gone through. That becomes a trap, because once you start saying that, you start overbearing, you start overprotecting unnecessary. And I think it is that allows a child to to backchat. Yes, they must reason. We must get to, and I think our parents also taught us that thing: children must be seen, not heard.
Not heard.
You know, and it's another thing. Now children want to be heard too. I was listening to this lady who, we could look at it and it will look like it's a soft parenting. So they were separated with the father. So they came back together again. And you know, when parents are coming back together again, it's those eggshell movements. We're afraid to really be authoritative, especially men. And if I was the one who was not staying with the children, I'm beginning to, soft pedal around them. So what happens is that the children felt neglected. So the mother took them out for a dinner, and they were talking, how are you? Which is the most important part that I think we miss probably. How are you? And the children were expressing themselves, how they were feeling neglected, rightly so.
By the father?
But, by the mother.
Okay.
Now, ever since daddy came back,
Okay.
you're no longer on our side, type of a thing. And that could happen. Remember, children also can be very tricky in terms of seeing who's the softer parent between the two.
Manipulative.
Yeah, and they could actually make both of you and take sides, or you realize that you're going to take sides. But it was interesting. The conversation was interesting. How different perspective of opinions from different parents was coming in. Someone was saying you're too soft with your children. The other ones were saying you're giving your children a good space to vent and to speak out, which is, it could be good. So I think it is our opportunity, or rather our stuff, that we're going to find ourselves knowing how to draw the line properly. Where do I become too soft to a point that my children are spoiled brats the white way, the soft parenting, or where do I still draw a discipline? Have you walked in the mall and you see a child misbehaving and you feel triggered?
No.
Like, I wish you were my child.
No.
Now,
Yes.
now, and it happens a lot of times because maybe sometimes we're expected raising other kids, other children,
And not your own.
not our own.
This topic triggers me. You know why? It's because of this generation. I feel 90% bamoshegile, and I don't see as parents how we're going to go back and fix the mess. I just see mess everywhere. Because even if at home you try your best as a parent, you lay rules, you put rules, but at the end of the day, they go to school, they mingle, they mix, and lawyer or quiet or nomthetho ubona ngathi uzohlekwa, at the end of the day. So this one that is uncalled for, rude, and etc. ubona ngathi he is cool or she is cool. Now this one wants to linger to the side. So that's the biggest problem that I have with so I want to understand laguma parenting. I just said I heard about a gentle parenting. I don't know what's that. I don't practice that. I don't even want to practice that. I think gentle parenting is one of those talking one thing over and over. Angas. And then there's something of grounding. Angas nagoyin logo. I don't know what's that. Let's start here. Mina ududu. I grew up in a home where my father, uzokutshela into manje ukuthi, when you grow up in a traditional home, you know that you don't do A, B, and C, and D. And immediately when you do C, it's now he comes back. I knew. And after that comes now. Did you say it's a beating? Or what did you say?
It's discipline.
It's discipline.
It's discipline.
Now the discipline parts come in. And I'm still saying, even today, 2025, thank God for my father. 2026, sorry guys. Thank God for my father. Thank God for that kind of discipline. Because isn't this is bonayo? It's wrong. Even the small women, the younger women that are giving birth to today's kids, they don't know how to discipline their own kids. Number one, wabona bantwana. A 17-year-old is pregnant. She can't take care of the child. And that child must come to us at school. That child is swearing, blatantly swearing. You call the mother, you tell the mother, your child A, B, and C, and D. Ah, shame, seriously. Sipo, why we are. That's all. How are we supposed to be raising our kids to go into the community and be people one day?
If If I may go back to your point, where we as families need to heal, right? There is that parenting from a point of fear and parenting from a point of love, right? Love gives you now, when you parent from a point of love, you parent with knowledge, understanding of the developmental age that my children is in, that I need to either now coach or teach or now assist, kind of thing. So if you are parenting from point of fear, it's that I would rather suffer than to see my child going through what I went through. However, in that, when you say that statement in yourself, when you observe your life is full of order. So what was wrong with the way you were raised? So we actually need to start rephrasing our words, the healing. Yeah, we need to rephrase, because in us wanting to make life softer for our children, we've created a soft generation. And there's a saying, they say a hard generation produces a soft generation. A soft generation produces a poor generation.
I think rotten generation.
Either
we
way.
can say rotten.
Either way. So there is, we were raised right with morals, principles, and everything. Now we felt, to a certain extent, some way, somehow, somebody poisoned us to feel like we were abused. And as a result, now we don't want to pass on the principles that we were taught, or we alter our principles. Yes, you would say that because times are different and whatever. I agree with allowing children to voice their opinions, allowing them to be heard, because that is where we actually also train them to say in an interview, when they say, can you tell us, what else can you tell us? You are able to go and confidently say. But if you were raised in a situation of saying a child is heard, it's seen and not heard, you are not able to even voice anything in a boardroom situation. So yes, there are those downside of how we one would say it's because of the way we were brought up. We're not allowed to speak up. We're not allowed to even or give an opinion. However, we still need to heal. I agree. I think that is where we need. Yes, you say a 17-year-old gives birth and they themselves are a child. Developmentally, they're not even but their cortex is not even there yet to even fathom the fact that now there's a life now looking at me that I need to shape. If back then a 17-year-old were to give birth, what would they do? The mother would take the child. Chances are very high that they were raised as their child. They don't even know that this is my mother. But they were raised and they will tell you, you're a child, you'll remain a child, you go to school. We will take care of this child. And as a result, all these social ills were very minimal. So now we've got parents that are either, yes, hurt. They don't want to perpetuate the hurt, but they're indirectly doing it. And then also, if a 17-year-old now gives birth, they now give up on the child.
You give up on the 17-year-old.
You give up on the 17-year-old. And then how do you then rejection now it steps in onto the other one. So that is where the ever since you even the bitter words over the child's life that are spoken, that child is absorbing. I mean, science is now showing that the words that you a child can sense rejection while they're still in the womb. Yes. So if a 17-year-old is rejected for being pregnant, do you think they're looking forward to being a mother?
Yeah. Or even culturally, I think some of the things, the fact that we use the word parenting styles, I think it's important to understand what informs a style. So whatever that informs a style, it could be cultural, it could be religious, it could be how we were brought up generally, because that could be that thing. But the style that we portray comes from the way we were brought up.
Yes.
So in order for us to say, we're not necessarily going to judge the parents, maybe we should. We're not judging the parents per se, but we're judging the style, because maybe we need to revisit the styles. Much as how we were brought up worked for us, but we could be using that as a general overlay that it worked for everybody. But chances are there are those that it didn't work for, because abuse was still there. And at that time, chances are also that abuse at our time was not spoken of. I'm going to make a typical example. When we speak about abuse, we've got two types of wounds. We could have a mother wound and we could have a father wound. A lot of times we know a father wound. If I as a man were to take this and throw it at a child, it would be called abuse.
Now.
Yeah. But if a mother throws it, even from old, if a mother throws it, mama ubhali. It is not seen as an abuse. We have a tendency of taking the mother wounds that are there with children that are not seen. And those wounds develop into the styles that we are raising our children from. It is okay for a father to be silent, because now men really don't know. They tiptoe. They don't know whether do I need to be authoritative in the house or do I need to tiptoe. If mom is angry at me, and at times the parents could do that, styles, by the way, they are able to influence the children in papa house. So economy as well plays a role, where you find that the voice of the man is needed in the house, but because he's not making enough money, it takes away the authority, and it's diluted. It takes away the authority in the household. What am I saying? I'm saying, I think before we investigate the punitive measures, let us go back to check the styles. How did we arrive where we are? We need to revisit our culture, revisit our religion, revisit our homes. Let us look at ourselves. Let us look at the wounds that we've been carrying to the next generation, because if we don't sort it out, trust me, it is going to go to the next level or to the next generation, and whatever that is not dealt with. Our parents used to shove everything under the carpet, and abuse could happen, but nobody speaks about it because it was done by Eccles. Don't speak about it. But now the children are talking about it, and that speaking about it, there was a study that was made with the June 76 children, youth at the time, and they realized that they were angrier at their parents for keeping quiet and not saying anything.
Yeah, then they were angry at the government.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So the anger made sure that they no longer respect their parents because you're too quiet. You're drinking, you're spending time in liquor. Whenever we allow children to take responsibility over what we should be doing as parents, it becomes a problem. So maybe we need to judge parents a little bit.
I heard someone saying the other day that I don't know what made her say that, but she said when a child is 8 years and older, you no longer hit or discipline the child anymore. I don't know what informed that, because I would like to know, do you think hitting or disciplining a child helps?
Discipline, I think it's the right word. Discipline, there are many measures to discipline. I'll make a typical example. Have you seen how a child behaves when you take away their phone? The world ends because everything is in their phone. It's on their phone. They live with their phone. And I think that's another part that we're really not talking about, because the information that they're receiving, not from you, one of the things that informs the cultures or the voices or whatever is the voices that are speaking to our children from different directions. They're hearing one opinion from you, but they're hearing another from the phone, from their parents as they're talking, from their friends at school, from they go to their friend's place, there's sleepovers. In your house, there's no sleepover. And it looks fun because there's a fun parent, there's a strict parent.
Yes.
So when it then comes to what we then can call discipline, sometimes physical discipline becomes a danger, because you can get to a space where now the boys, you're raising boys. At some point, the boy is going to be taller than you, or maybe they could be, and they have that bold voice. All of a sudden, you want to go. I remember the last time my dad hit me. He tried to hit me, and I held his hand like this, and I looked at him. That was the last time he did that. I don't know whether it caused division between me and him, because all of a sudden my voice was now thick, and I tried to stand up for myself. And at the same time as well, you want this child not to be bullied in the street. So the point that I'm getting at is that maybe discipline has to be, let's look at what the society or our children at the time could be wanting. If your child realize naughty corner, I remember naughty corner worked for me.
You know, guys.
Growing up, my children, naughty corner was an amazing thing, because I would say, you're going to sit at that corner, no phone, you're not moving from that corner. You're going to sit there for 15 minutes until you find yourself, and until you come. And it worked.
Listen to that.
And it really worked. And sometimes we make them fix the wall, so they're not watching TV. So you've taken away their pleasure.
No, man. What kind of parenting is that?
No, it is parenting. That's what we also use in preschool. What we would say is that you're going to sit in that corner and you're going to think about what you did. You're going to think about how you made that other child feel, and if that child were to do the same to you, would you like it? Then we give you 15 minutes to go think about it, and then before you move, you must come explain, would you like it if somebody else does it? What for me that has done was it made them be aware of another person's emotions, so it made them more empathetic.
Yeah.
And then at home, it also, mine worked with my two daughters, that they would give you time out. You're tired of playing with this thing, that's why you don't want to share, that's why you're being disruptive and all of that. It's fine, let's give you time out. What that does for me, it's a reset button. Right? Instead of the physical, because yes, you can do the physical spanking, right? But you do get children that say "mbet" and get finished with.
Yeah.
Then it has lost its meaning. Yes. So you must be aware of different combinations of disciplinary methods.
Yeah.
And then also, you must also make sure that whatever disciplinary method that you use, it's meaningful, so that it does not feel like a punishment, but disciplinary measure. Yes. Our parents only used one method, which was to spank.
Yeah. All
Yes.
the time.
Yeah, all the time. And to such that you prepared yourself. At some point, I remember my brothers would even, if they were late at home, they would wear 3 layers of pants, knowing that they're going to lie on the floor and my dad is going to shambok them. At least the 3 layers will reduce the impact on the skin.
Yeah.
So it loses impact. So eventually, one thing we must know is that these kids are evolving. And all this other information that they're getting is also giving them different ways of getting naughty.
Yeah.
But you as a parent must also never get tired of finding innovative ways of reinforcing what you want them to know.
Well,
Like
pivoting in parenting is one of the most important things that we.
what's pivoting?
Pivoting is you acclimatize, or you grow with the standard. So
Okay.
you get into a space, you acclimatize to the standard.
You familiarize
You
yourself
familiarize
with new
with
things.
what's new and what's working. And
Okay.
because that's very, very important. One of the worst things you could ever do is to be uninformed as a parent of what's happening around. Maybe small steps like that to understand, if you're not doing this, you're not going to get this. Also, bearing in mind that whilst you're doing it, also you're teaching them responsibility. We are not raising children who are afraid, but we're raising responsible children, that in everything that you do, there's responsibility that comes with it. So once you start doing 1, 2, 3, 4, realize that you're also going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, or you're going to grow into 1, 2, 3, 4, because we are raising responsible men, responsible girls in the
Women.
society.
But you know what? I personally think social media on its own is corrupting our kids. What's your take?
Social media can be very dangerous, because I think it can get to that space where there's a voice that speaks over your voice as a parent. It teaches them certain ways of behavior. It teaches them certain standards and certain things. And if you're not innovative as a parent, social media will teach your child. Your children right now, you can give them information. They'll just go to the phone and check AI to see if you're correct. And what if you're wrong and they're right? That by itself is taking away your authority or your tone.
Social
slowly.
media, ne?
Social media can treat them and can teach them certain things that are correct, because there's not everything that social media is teaching them that is wrong. There's certain things that it's teaching them to, to grow up. If you as a parent, then you are not growing. I think also it goes to this part where partners in their relationship. You find in many households, when I'm speaking to men, I'll advise them that it is very critical that while your wife is growing, you must grow too. Because the levels of parenting also could come with how am I growing psychologically, emotionally. But if I'm not growing in that aspect and the wife is growing, there are types of guys right now, I think we're bordering into another part, but I think it's important to note. You find that the man, the wife goes to school. She's learning, she's upgrading herself. And maybe he's paying for the tuition fees, but he's not upgrading himself. When that happens, communication between the both of them breaks down, because now they can't relate to one another. What that boils down to is that the children as well are going to suffer from that part. at this point, you as a man, you're not upgrading, but your children are getting more knowledge than you. How does that make you feel when the wife is doing the same things? But I would say to parents, I think we need to have the balance where both parents, as we grow together. Also, the children could be growing, but we're not growing. I had to go to school in my old age, and it helped. Because I would have stopped. I used to be a musician. I liked music only. And I realized that it was the only thing that I was good at, and doing TV presenting, I was good at those things. But I realized that my former success did not relate to who I was now as a father and as a man, and as a man of God. I needed to upgrade. I needed to learn. I needed to go to school so that I can become a better parent, in a way, a better man, a better friend, a better partner.
Sis Pearl, a lot of parents says, I am not your friend, I mean your mother. And you hear other parents, they say, be your child's friend, have that open communication. What do you say about that?
I say there's a stage for it. There's a time for it. So there's stages in parenting. So we say from the age of 3 up until 8, you are actively teaching your child how to be.
Okay, from stage.
From childhood, early childhood, from
8.
3 to 8. You're teaching them, they need to know how to brush their teeth, how to make their bed, how to make a simple meal, how to close the curtain, and all of this. You're teaching them, right? And then from 8 up until 15, now you are now, what is it? You're now an assistant. You're assisting. Don't forget to brush your teeth. Right? Don't forget that you need to go close the curtains at 6. Don't forget this. You're just reminding them, and then you're assisting wherever they make mistakes. And then in teenagehood, from 15 up until 18, you're a coach. Right?
Coach meaning? What are you doing?
Meaning that you are, remember, a coach, most coaches are outside of the field. They teach, there's a place where you practice with the coach, and they tell you, no, here you solve it this way, that you solve it this way. But at the actual real life situation, the coach is outside. They allow you to do things. So from 17 actually up until 21, that's where you can start saying, I'm your friend. Because why? I still want to be aware of what is happening in your life, and I want to help you solve problems, because now I'm also aware of the traps that you can fall into, in the different decisions that you can make in that stage. And then after that, you're a consultant. The children will come to you if they want to. They can call you if they want to. If they don't have to. So everything is a stage. So the friendship is allowed only later in life, when you know that you've now fully helped this person develop. Appropriately. But you don't want to be a friend to a toddler. They're never going to listen to you. That is where emotional dysregulation starts. You don't want to be you don't want to be a friend to the school going age, because that's when, now they start testing boundaries to the core. So everything has a time, and place. Yes. So right now I'm also not a friend to my children. I'm a parent.
So it continues from disciplining, talking.
Disciplining. And then later when they're 18, you say, but remember when you did this and this and this and this, how did we solve it? Back then, there has to be a reference. But if there was no reference, who are you now?
And you might as well start introducing rewards.
Yes.
I think rewards are very, very important. And one of the things that we must understand is that in every life, there's got to be a reward. When you're doing this, there's got to be a reward for it. That way.
What? Like washing dishes?
No. I'm not necessarily.
No.
That's not what I mean.
Can you please explain that to us?
Rewards come in different forms. If a child has done well, reward them. And I'm not saying buy them a car or whatever, but I think rewards are important. Rewards make. I'm going to show you something that's important. I'm the middle child at home, and I would come back with a report, and it would be, and I didn't realize how that made me feel like as a child, because I became a non-achiever growing up. I didn't want to. I did not have a sense of achievement because there was no reward. Reward doesn't have to come with money or whatever. You've done well, I'm proud of you. Say it, speak
I
it, affirm
recognize
it.
you.
Because, you know, when we speak about love languages are from developmental stage. We find someone who's got a love language of words of affirmation, for instance. People like that lacked love when they were children. Now they are looking for it all over, and it becomes a problem.
Phew, okay. But one thing that I want us to quickly run over is that we have different types of kids, right? You find you have a stubborn child. How can we deal with such kids?
What could be stubborn? We have not even spoken about ADHD. You find that the child,
ADHD, and all that.
and you find that the child is really not well, and we have not taken our children to assessment. And especially teachers, you as teachers, you see all children are children in front of you because you have not been prepared psychologically how to treat a different child, an
Yes.
autistic child. So a child could come there, they're very smart, but according to the standards that we've put in front of them, they're failing dismally. And until we learn that, until we teach that to children, how to deal with all types of children, psychologically, spiritually, and emotionally, all those things are very, very important to take cognizance of. That child is different from that child. What is different with them? So that's very, very important. We need to teach not just the parents, but also the people who are teachers. Teachers are more of parents than parents.
Than parents.
Yeah, because
yes.
teachers really spend close to 8 hours, if not so, with children. So it means you see more of the child than the parent does. So if you're not taught ways of dealing with children or seeing difference in children, also you are the only one, chances are, who could recognize when the child is abused.
100%.
Yeah.
Because I normally say, parents, please parent. Because I feel like they don't care. They just push everything to whatever. You know, they don't care. They don't even know how to teach their... You know, you call a child and this child would say, hey, stop it. This child doesn't even know what you're saying. I think our kids are confused. Stubborn child means you talk one thing over and over and over. This child is not even interested in what you're saying.
I have a different point of view to that, because they could be that. Remember, children have different temperaments. Temperaments is how they respond to you, depending on their genetic, emotional makeup and all of that. So when you're saying I'm repeating something over and over and you're still doing it, are you saying it in words that I understand? Am I registering? Because there's a difference between understanding an instruction and carrying it out and receiving an instruction, processing it, making it sense for myself initially before I carry it out. So there are those kids that take longer to process something. And then also, depending on your tone behind that instruction, there is...
I can't be saying make your bed every day. Every day, I must tell you, make your bed.
It goes back to the reward. It goes back to the reward. The days where I've made my bed, there is a star that goes next to my name on the fridge at home. I recognize Mommy saw that I made my bed. Tomorrow I'm gonna make it without you reminding me.
No, guys, basics. Every child, whether a girl or boy, must be able to make their bed, clean their room. Those are basics. Why do you need a star for that? Because those are life lessons. Your child must be able
Why
to
do
do
you need
that.
to pass in class?
No. Passing is something else. Ngisho ukuthi ama
it's
responsibilities.
not.
No, ama responsibilities wako as a person. When you grow up and becoming an adult one day, you must be able to clean where you stay. You must be able to hygiene yourself. So wife and totally reward for lokho.
And the child will ask you, why should I?
Yilabo mama soft parenting. Because
No, it's
ngizamkhahlela aphume
not.
ngomnyango.
No, it's
Why
not.
should I?
Just do calm down. It's not. It's not. It's all about walking the journey with the child, unfolding it at their pace.
Yeah.
Remember, not every child catches at the time that you expect them to. And as a parent, it is your role and your responsibility to see what kind of learning style is my child strong in. So if I have to repeat it, you have to repeat it with patience and
Yo.
consistency.
Avoid.
So you can't say, your brother got it fast. What's wrong with you? No. You see a hand, it's your hand, but it's not the same tone. And it doesn't have the same. This side can endure more heat, this side can't.
My father used to say, you see these fingers, awalingani. So nani ne anfani.
Exactly.
And I keep on saying to my other one, very funny, but ubudwako, by 10 he was cleaning, by 10 he was washing the dishes.
And comparison kills the other
Kills them,
person's ambition.
Yeah. And you'll be shocked when you're saying by 10 they were doing this. You could be ignoring what
They were doing,
good.
yes.
Yeah, because the other one could be doing something great, but you are putting the standards of that one to this one. So the playing fields are not leveled.
And remember, firstborns are people pleasers.
Is it? And they tend to grow up
They
and
want-
be
they-
evil as well.
They
They
tend
grow
to.
up and be evil as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Mpunsile.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
part.
It's-
Research even says it, Dr. Steve, that ama-firstborn akhule abe nenhliziyo ezimbi because of they have to take care of the ones coming.
Because they had to
because of
become deputy
Adult.
parents.
Yeah,
They had to
90%.
become adult way before their time. So the danger of comparing the ones that come after
Okay.
to the adult.
Okay,
I mean,
that's
to the
what I'm
firstborn.
taking from
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
That normal comparison,
Yeah.
number one.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how do we stop them from bullying before we quickly? How can we see or foresee ukuthi, "Eh, lo mntana lo ngathi uyabhulana," or how can we help them not to become bullies? Or how can we help them to talk about bullying when they get home?
And how can we heal? Because as I heal as a parent, so shall my children heal too.
Okay, I'm worried about the bullying because in schools, bullying is bullying every corner. Bullish one.
Exactly, and they can't bully you back. They go bully the weaker ones.
The kids go bully other kids at home. Okay,
No,
but
at school.
at school, sorry. But now I want to tell sifuna ukuthi sitshele labazali labekhaya what is to pick up when your child is being bullied at school.
I think first of all, if the child is reluctant to go to school, and then if there's a change of pattern, the excitement is not there anymore. They don't really eat as they used to. They don't really speak as they used to. They just a change of pattern in how they are. Firstly, that's a red flag to say for you to check in. Are you okay? And not to say, is there anyone bullying you at school? They're never gonna tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, but who are your friends? Who do you spend most of your time with? Conversation types. What made you happy today?
Okay.
What kind of thing made you laugh the most today? Kind of thing. So if you're hearing negative responses, then you know that maybe in the social circles
something
there's something going wrong.
wrong.
Yes. So basically, I think that for me, that's where the friendship part, it's allowing you, you can allow that part because a child won't open up to you if they don't feel comfortable to. And also, let's not be, no, it's because you let them be, you let them push you around, you let them. That child is never going to tell you again if somebody pushed me at school. Rather, be your child's hero. Say, I'm coming to school tomorrow. Then that child has confidence to say, if I go tell my mom that something happened to me at school, they will take it seriously. Yes.
Okay, something happened to my second child, and he said, "I don't want to be a snitch."
Because
What?
a snitch is most
Snitch is
somebody who tells on
tells.
others.
Yes, but that's what I'm asking. Ukuthi sizibona kanjani lezi zinto, and how can we help them?
But that's also already a red flag. Such
Because-
words.
Yes,
it's a
because
red
the
flag.
thing, this whatever happened twice or thrice, and I said, "Why did you not tell me?" And he said, "Mama, I didn't want to be a snitch."
The word why sometimes also deters our children from telling us the truth.
I
We need
think-
therapy.
Doctor man, sila
think-
sifuna ukunceda abantwana bethu.
Sibanceda kanjani nge-therapy?
But not everyone can afford therapy.
No, I think therapy comes in different forms, but I think we need one. I think, let me put it this way. Sometimes we speak of therapy when we're thinking about there's a problem now, but everybody just needs to therapize. You need somewhere where you're going to this is therapy. Someone could be watching this and it could inform them in some form of ways. In other words, whether therapy is expensive or not, find measures to train yourself and to teach yourself and to heal yourself so that you can heal the next generation. We owe it to them.
Hurt people, ne?
Definitely.
Okay. Mndeni wami emakhaya, I think we need episode 2. This was very short, right? Do you agree? We need episode 2 so that labo professionals laba bazositshela kahle ukuthi A, B, C, D, E, because this was very short for me. Ngiyabonga, thank you for the subscribers, thank you for watching. Please reshare. Ngiyabonga, Doctor. Thank you, Sis Pal. And what are your last words to my people at home, Doctor?
One of the things that I think we're missing is also remember, one, I go back, we need to to heal. Two, how are we healing? I love God. I think one of the favorite things that I really believe in is God. It's important also to investigate the religion. One of the things that we must investigate is our theology. What is it that we've been teaching our children? How are we growing? And I think we need therapy. You need to go to therapy.
My people at home don't have enough money to go to therapy. Ole healing uyisho kanjani? Talk to someone else. Is that what healing
Yeah,
is?
your pastor could be a therapist.
Sinenkinga nokuthi abantu basaba ukukhuluma inkinga zabo because of basaba ukuhlekwa. We also have that problem as blacks.
Yeah.
Ukuthi yo, I can't tell Pearl because Pearl is going to make a joke of my issue. So healing ingena kuphi?
Umuzumfundisi sakamila akhuluma ngawe pulpit.
Apreacha ngawe
Yeah,
lapho
but
kuphi
that's what I'm saying. I think it's important also to just check our friendships. Who do we have on our side?
Who's on your corner?
Yeah.
Sis Pearl, what do you say?
I think that it is very important to understand your child's developmental stage so that you can parent appropriately.
Yes.
Yes, because you can't want to parent a toddler as though you're parenting a teenager. You're going to create damage.
Okay.
And also, there's nothing, I do believe that there's a lot of right that our parents did. That, and our parents are our default. The way we were parented is our default. Sometimes go back to default. Go back to default.
Default made us, ne?
It
We
made
are what we are because of the default. Am I right?
We are what we are because of our default. Yes, there was a lot of emotional this and emotional that created scars and everything, but a lot of it was correct.
You know what does she want? Corporal punishment.
No. I vote, Doctor. I don't
Kidding, I'm
want
kidding,
corporal
just
punishment. I don't want corporal punishment. But me now, you know, as a parent, mother of three, I want our kids to grow into responsible people, you know, because I'm not raising my boys for my own. I'm raising them for the community. That boy is going to be someone's husband tomorrow. He must be able to take off his family. Yes. And, you know, the fathers that are not doing their part, it's just that hence I'm saying we need an episode 2. Because this whole drama, I think it's also eliminating from boys that are running away from their responsibility or fathers running away from their responsibility. Now the mother needs to be there alone. And as we are saying, yaga baba, aifani yaga mama. You know, so our kids need a proper healing. As much as we need healing, as you said, our kids are also hurting. But at the end of the day, we need to parent as parents. Parents, parenting, teach your kids the right thing to do. Don't be afraid to spank.
Yes, not hit. Spank.
Oh, I wonder if spank you Puma. Thank you for watching this episode. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.